say football here, they always refer to American football, which is like the NFL. And that's why they call it soccer over here. And the FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup
Yeah.
happened in India. So
Yes. Yes.
first, it was supposed to happen in 2020, which was my year.
Hmm.
And we were a part of that team. So we were already training for 1 year when COVID hit. No, definitely, I think the Indian team is the reason I'm here today. One a bigger goal that I have is taking India to the World Cup.
Welcome everybody to the fifth episode of Atawaris Speaks Football. We have with us Aveka Singh. She plays for Irvine FC, a California-based team. So starting off, can you explain the term why Americans call football soccer and it's different from the rest of the world?
Yes, they do call it soccer. They don't call it football at all. I wish they did, but they don't. So yeah, they call it that because I think if people don't know, that's fine. But there's a sport here called American football, which they play with
Yeah.
a ball similar to like the rugby. So when they say football here, they always refer to American football, which is like the NFL. And that's why they call it soccer over here, and also in Canada, I think.
Yeah. So this was just to lighten up the mood. We'll begin shortly. So the first one is, how did you get into football?
So I think I started playing, in my bedroom with my dad when I was like, I think 5 years old or something. And I think just in school, like in PE class or something, like that's what started it because I had a lot of friends who were like guys when I was little, so I would just follow them and just play with them. And it just like for me, it wasn't something or someone that like pushed me towards it or someone that said, oh, like like come let's play football. It just happened in school and it just happened. And when I was like 5 6 7 years old in like class with my friends on the field, like I just grew my love towards it and I just started just playing for fun.
So you mentioned that you started playing with your dad in the early days. So I guess you must be having a lot of family support at that time, which compared to Indian footballers, they don't have that much support.
Correct. Actually, that's true. I am from a family who has supported me, like even now, even since I was, as you said, 5 6 7 10 years old. And I definitely have had that support with my parents, with everyone in my family, my grandparents, even my friends, even my school. So definitely, I've come from somewhere where my family has been supporting me through thick and thin.
Um, so based on your career journey, can you walk us through your journey from playing youth soccer in India to joining the NCAA Division One team at UC Irvine?
Of course, yes. So I think the start would be so in my school in Delhi. There was the first time that there was like a women's like a girls team when I was in the fourth grade, I think. So that was my first experience with a team. So for fourth and fifth grade, like I played with the girls team, and it's like the first time it was there in the school. So and I was lucky that I was a part of it, and it was my year that it started. So that's how I started, and then obviously I played with boys in school, even outside up until like sixth, seventh grade, and then I started playing like national tournaments or when I turned 11 or 12. Because in India there used to be like Delhi state or national, like sub junior, junior national
Yeah.
football tournaments.
Hmm.
So I started playing that. I played like under 19 when I was 11 years old. So like there was a lot of potential for me to be good. And I think
Hmm.
I just took that, and then I joined an academy like the FCB Escola, which stands for FC Barcelona Football Schools in India. So I was the
Hmm.
only girl with I think one other girl who was actually my friend, and we joined the boys team. So I think for 3 or 4 years when I was 11 or 12, I played on that club team in Delhi itself, and we would train 2 times a week and play I think or 3 times a week and play one game on the weekends, like small 7v7, and it was just with boys. So I think that's how also I became good because I played with boys in Delhi in India, and then once I was I think 12 or 13, that was the first time that I played a junior like an under 14 national tournament, and I got scouted by the Indian team to go and do a camp, national team camp, and
Hmm.
that's the first like my debut I made for the Indian team, which was I think under 15, and I was 13. It was a SAF tournament, which is South Asian Football
Hmm.
Federation, and then
Yeah.
from 2017 till about 2020 till COVID, I was with the national team, played various tournaments, won, played AFC qualifiers, played exposure tournaments, traveled all over the world with the Indian team, and we won like the SAF, and then I was with the I think if people watching this know, you probably know the FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup
Yeah.
happened in India. So
Yes. Yes.
first it was supposed to happen in 2020, which was my year.
Hmm.
And we were a part of that team. So we were already training for 1 year when COVID hit, and
Hmm.
because of that, it got delayed. So my batch then we never got to play that. I was a part of that team. I was a vice captain. I was excited to play that. Obviously, a World Cup is like a once in a lifetime experience. And then
Exactly. Hmm.
I was in the 11th or 12th grade. Then I was 16, 17, and then I didn't get to play that because of COVID. It got pushed 2 years. So people who were 2 years
Hmm.
younger than me played that. And then once I was in COVID, I was about to finish my schooling. So I was just, looking around, talking about the next steps because my dream is to play professionally. And I want to play even now, like I want to play in Europe. I want to play in the biggest leagues in the world. I want to be, of course, the best I can be. But for me, that goal is to be the best player. So
Hmm.
so from there, I think is when I tried to scout around, email, and I got some help, and I got connected to like a few coaches here, which is NCAA Division One women's soccer, and you get like a scholarship. So they offered me to come here
Hmm.
and continue my college as well as play at a very high level. And a lot of national team players from the for the US, for Canada, Mexico. On my team, there's Indian national team, Egyptian, Ecuador. Like so many players come out of this college setup in the US. So of course, US women's soccer is a very very high level, and I'm doing this here. It's like a stepping stone. These 3 or 4 years, I'm done this year. So after this, I plan to go professional, and I think I think that's about it. That's how I came to play here.
Okay. So you have been part of the Indian team. You're the vice captain. So how has that helped in shaping your career? You must have
Mhm.
experienced some great moments. Some moments there were challenges, adversaries. So how did you cope up with it, and how
Mhm.
it shaped your career?
No, definitely. I think the Indian team is the reason I'm here today. Like I definitely can credit most of my, if not all of my success to them, or even where I am today, because they picked me up at such a young age and helped me develop. We had the best training facilities. As you also know, Indian football is still growing.
Yes.
It has a long way to go. It's come a long way as well, especially over the
Hmm.
past 4 or 5 years. But back then, we didn't have good facilities, no good training, especially for women's football. Now it's become good, but
Yes.
when I was like younger, 13, 14, we had nothing. Since I told you I joined a boys team because I had to.
Yeah.
But the national team was so helpful because all the best players from India came together in camps, and I was with them for years, and we would have a camp for 2 months. I would go back for a week, come back again. So I think that training and the exposure to we played so many teams. We played teams like Sweden, which is like one of the best teams in the world. We played Thailand. We
Hmm.
played all the Asian teams I remember playing Mongolia, Laos, Bhutan, like so many teams, even Pakistan. Like I think so many, putting that much exposure for young
Hmm.
people at age 13, 14, 15 to play such big games, I think has helped me mature as a football player as well as a person, because we all had to leave home early, like at an early age. So we had to learn how to live by ourselves, take care of ourselves. So I think everything, the adversity, and even the times where we've won tournaments, I think that's my favorite memory ever, winning with India, wearing the national team flag, and like being proud about it. So yeah, I think definitely I put all my, like, I credit all of my success to the Indian team.
So since you mentioned that you were the one girl or with
Mhm.
your friend who were part of the FCB school in India, so do you think there are common challenges faced by women athletes in the soccer world, and how do you think they can be addressed?
See, yes, there are definitely many challenges faced. I think, firstly, the most basic one where people think that women shouldn't be playing football in the first place, or any sport per se. Definitely, I think now it's becoming better, but I think when I was in the space, when I was 12, 13, 14, a lot of people would bat eyes at you like, oh, is she really playing? Can she even play with, any of the boys or anything? But then when you actually see us play, then we are better than some of the boys, or we are at the same level at least. um,
Hmm.
and I think the best way to do it is just play, and people will watch you play, and hopefully just appreciate what you actually do, and not really judge you on the basis of just, oh, you're a girl so you can't play. I think that's a lot of issues that stemmed from how we are as a society. But one individual cannot change it. But I think everyone slowly together, um, even with Indian football AIFF as well, they are changing it with the our IWL, the league becoming better.
Hmm.
Women players actually becoming paid, which means that there is a possibility of a professional life in Indian football for a woman. But because
Yeah.
there was no possibility about 3 4 years ago, our league was 5 weeks long. Like even the national team,
Hmm.
okay, you'll be with them for 3 4 months of the year, but then what do? You need to have a second
Hmm.
job. So I think a lot of issues are being addressed, and of course we have a long way to go, but I think they continue to. I think we are going in the right path.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, that AIFF has been putting efforts towards women
Mhm.
football as well.
Lots.
They just started out IWL2 as well. So it's
Correct.
basically a primary step. Then you reach to IWL. So definitely there are changes being made. But at the present moment, do you think that women football is still lacking something in order to compete with the men football in India or in the
Well,
world
I
globally?
yes, for sure. I think investment for to compete with men's football in India. See, already I think we are a better ranked team. We do have
Hmm.
a better possibility, possibly. I'm not saying for
Hmm.
sure, but possibly of making it to the Women's World Cup earlier than say the men's would, because it's a
Hmm.
fact that we are ranked, always within the 50s or 60s, and the men are between 90s and hundreds. Um,
Hmm.
so of course, that just shows that we are a good side. We have potential. We have good players, good exposure, and I think just investment in the women's game by, say, more people, more viewers, even Indian football itself, who are already doing a good job. But even to have like a vision, like how men have a vision 2047, I think, is it for the World
Hmm.
Cup? They already have a vision that okay, by this year they want to make the World Cup. So they're all working towards that. If there would be a nice vision for women as well, where everyone and we would all work towards it together. I think that would be really good for Indian women's football. But when I say this, I do know and I do think that we are actually working towards this. So this project is in the works. So this is something that is already happening, which is nice. And then with the world game, I think for Indian women's football to get into the world game with women, I think that we need more exposure. We need more constant, consistent games, as now the IWL is doing. Because
Hmm.
realistically, we play what 2 3 months a year, maybe one game a week, and then
Yeah.
if you're with the national team, okay, you play maybe 2 more months. So 4 months out of the 12. Where if you see like a Premier League or any La Liga anywhere in the world, even Spain, third, fourth, fifth division, they play 9 months a year, like one game a week for sure. Like so over those years that builds up, right? 9 months versus two,
Hmm.
three, 4 months, if you're lucky, and if you're with the national team. So definitely we need more players. Actually, we have more players now, like Manisha Kalyan, Dalima Chibar. So many people have gone
Hmm.
abroad, played, seen the exposure, played with different nationalities, played with the highest level of players. Like being here, I've played against like US women national team players. I think 2 months ago we played against an NWSL team here. We played against a national team. So I played against some Canada national team players, US national team players, and it was such a cool experience. So just to see that and see that it's possible, I think that would be a big step for Indian women's football to go and compete with everyone else in the world game.
Aveka, you have been to US, you have played in India, so there must be a difference between both the countries in
Yes.
respect to women's football, in respect to football in general.
Mhm.
So, have you seen any or experienced any difference between Indian football and the football in US?
Correct. So I think for the football in the US, we run a lot. It's a lot of athleticism, not like
Hmm.
the UK where it's physical, like physical, strong battles on the field.
Hmm.
Yes, it's there, of course. I'm not taking that away, but it's more so like it's more dynamic and it's more vertical. It's more y- like not necessarily long balls, but it's just a lot of transitions, a lot of like just running up and down the field, a lot of athleticism in simple words. Very fast
Hmm.
game. You have to be at your peak athletic performance to be able to perform or be able to even play here, even in practice. The demands and the pressure is very high in the US. I think they put, because of how the US is as a society, I think they put a lot of pressure on everyone, even student athletes, even athletes in general. And you have to survive. It's all about survival here. So yeah, it's definitely different compared to anywhere else. I think Canada is similar, but I think if you compare it to Europe, it's very different because in Spain, whatever, you keep the ball, move the ball around, but here is more like
Hmm.
vertical. You always want to score, always go forward. No patience. Like yes, there is some teams like my team, which I play for here. We incorporate some Spanish football and European football, but majority all over like the US is mostly like vertical direct play, a lot of transitional work, a lot of running, a lot of up and down, a lot of individual battles on the field itself. And then I think in India, definitely we have a long way to go in general from
Hmm.
where the level we are. But I think I'd say as a personality, we are people who play for each other. Even with the
Hmm.
national team, we are proud to be Indian. So I think we play a little bit more cohesively. I would say. I think it's a slow game because
Hmm.
even with national team, it's like
Yeah.
like it's more professional, like 90-minute football. Over here there are different rules, like you have unlimited subs, and it's like a very dynamic, fast flowing game, so you always are like just running. Because if
Yeah.
you the coach says, okay, go run for 20 minutes, like get as tired as you can, I'll pull you off, no problem, but you've done your job. But in India you have to sustain your level, whatever. And so yeah, I think India has a long way to go, and I don't think we've specifically established a way of play in India. Like there's no really like, oh, okay, Indian football is like tiki taka, or Indian football is
Hmm.
vertical. So I think we still have a long way to go to establish what Indian football actually is and what our roots and what our DNA is. So yeah.
So yeah. Basically, as the Indian football team just crashed out of the AFC Asian Cup in January, and then in the recent matches against Afghanistan as well, we
Correct.
failed to register a win away as well as at home. In
As home,
fact, we
yes.
lost at home,
Exactly.
2-1. So there is not as you mentioned, there is no tiki taka or vertical play. So we have to incorporate it. And one of the things that I feel that Indian football is not able to give the fans back is whenever they step on the field, it looks like they have lost what they have learned. It
Hmm.
seems like they get perplexed or confused at the moment. So yeah, definitely we have to incorporate a tactic. Either it will be passing, possession based, counter attacking. It's based on the
Correct,
coach,
yes.
and but let's see. So
Yes.
focusing on, you must have got so many influential coach in your career so far, and what lessons have you learned from there?
So I think when I was with the under 17 Women's World Cup squad, that was the first time we got a foreign coach.
Hmm.
Mr. Thomas Dennerby. He was the coach of the senior women's team until November. He
Yeah.
just, I think,
Hmm.
retired, I believe. But yeah, he's from Sweden. He was the first time I got to kind of work with closely with an international coach, and I think that was a big lesson of learning where he brought in, because all I knew was Indian football, right? All I knew was, yes, I had been to Barcelona once to play a tournament with FCB Escola. I'd been to Aston Villa in Birmingham once, where I had been scouted and gone to train with them for a week. But it was just, small experiences. When I was 11, 12, couldn't really remember. So I think he was a big influence because he kind of introduced all of us, not only me, the whole Indian team, women's team, to the world of Swedish football, the world of international football, because he was a coach for Nigeria in the Women's World Cup, which was a very good squad.
Hmm.
And he showed us how, like, how like in India, like we, I don't want to say we don't run, but I want to say we're not as fit, or we weren't as fit as other countries were, at least in the women's
Hmm.
space. So I think he showed us the importance of that. He showed us different ways of playing, different, not only just, I don't know, kicking the ball around, whatever, keeping the ball, possession based game, more tactics. Because at a young age, also, you just, you play, you're
Hmm.
technical, you're physical, you're mental. But then the tactical awareness that comes much later, and you realize, oh, even tactics are such a big part of the game. It can win, lose, or tie games. So I think tactical awareness was a big one with him, and I think he's been really influential of how I think you're just having your base fitness will allow you to do the things you are good at.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, that was a big one for me.
So Avika, how is your training sessions per day? What
Hmm.
it looks like?
Over here.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's different on which season we're in. So we have preseason. regular season and then off season. So I'll talk about preseason. So preseason we have only for 2 or 3 weeks. For 2 weeks we call them double days, and we train 2 hours in the morning, 8 to 10, then 2 hours in the evening, 3 to 5 p.m., and then 3 out of the 5 days we also do weights. So then we have 5 hour days because we train 8 to 10, do weights 12 to 1, and then again come on the field 3 to 5. So it's very, very tiring, because also the demands here are very, very, very much on the body,
Much, yes.
because it's a
Hmm.
very physical game. As I said, you run a lot. So it's not the healthiest for longevity of the game, but that's how college soccer is, and that's how US soccer and even Canadian soccer is. So that's how we do in preseason. And then in season, it's usually we have 2 hour training sessions every day with one day off and two games a week. So between 2 and 1. So it's either Thursday, Sunday, or just Thursday or just Sunday. And yeah, but always 2 hour training sessions, and 3 times a week we always have lifting. So then that becomes 3 hours. So and in off season we have the same, but we have lesser games. That's it. We just maybe have one game in 10 days rather than 2 games a week or something like that. So yeah.
So how do you think your playing style has evolved over the years? Because you are a midfielder,
Mhm.
you play as a central attacking midfielder.
Right.
So, and what areas do you still want to develop?
I think you said it yourself. Central attacking midfielder. So I think defending is one area that I am trying to develop, and developing it's in the works, because as I've played throughout my life, it's either been like always in the front. Mostly I'm a creative player,
Hmm.
so definitely attacking. And I think sometimes in India I got away with not defending, because the level wasn't the best. So I think that
Yeah.
is something I'm actively trying to work on with my coach here, and I am, because for the national team I played center defensive midfielder also a couple of times, which was nice. Played as a six, a little bit, played box to box as well as an eight instead of a 10. So I think developing
Hmm.
all aspects of even the midfield game is very important. And then as I've come, so I've also played in Spain for 1 or 2 months. Last year we had off season, so I went trained with a couple of teams, played a few games. So I think I also trained in France this year with, I don't know if you know RC Lens, their
Yeah, I've
big
heard of
team.
them. Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm.
And then I went last year as well for 2 weeks to France. So I keep going to different countries so I can kind of develop and enhance my game and get something from everywhere. So definitely once I came to the US, my game athletically and physically has become much better. I've put
Hmm.
on some good muscle, worked hard in the gym, worked hard on running, started running more. So I think my physical aspects has become a lot better. Then I've been working with a psychologist as well. So I think my mental aspects have become extremely better. And I think that every athlete, um, I don't know, whatever sport should work on, or even every human being. So I think I've learned a lot that ways. And then by going to Spain, I learned tiki taka, one touch, two touch football. France,
Hmm.
a whole different game, like more physical, more one on one, both comprising of fast flowing football, but also vertical. So, I think being in different places at different times and working with different coaches, I've evolved my game a lot. I'm only 20,
Hmm.
not to say like I'm not some whatever, but yeah, still have a long, long, long way to go. Haven't
Hmm.
done anything that I want to yet. But yeah, I'm definitely learning a lot.
When you move from India to US, there might be
Yes.
challenges and difficult moments for you because settling
Mhm.
from a country which has football not yet developed, then to a
Correct.
country who is developing at a fast pace compared to
Correct.
India, and who are trying to compete for the FIFA World Cup. So, how
Mhm.
do you think that changes, that challenges? How did you deal with it? How did you cope up with it? Those difficult
Mhm.
moments.
So I think biggest difference is like the amount we train and the amount that they demand from us every day.
Hmm.
Every single training, if you like, they always demand more, more, more. Even if you do something good, doesn't matter, you can do something better. I think
Hmm.
one other surprise was the amount of pressure that people put on themselves here, and the people that everyone has around the team, even the coach, the amount of pressure that they have on you individually, because you every single day you have to perform, because your spot is on the line, or your team
Yes.
is not
Hmm.
doing well, your championship is on the line, or something is happening. And so yeah, like it seems like, and it's a very, like, I know it's college talk, but it's extremely professional. Like, it's the most professional environment I've been in. We have like so much
Hmm.
staff. We have like 15 physios on board. We have like doctors, we have nutritionists, we have strength coaches, we have conditioning coaches, we have obviously our own personal coaches, assistant coaches, but then we also have academic help. So I think everything is taken so seriously here that it was a surprise and also really good because it helps me develop as a person. And then some of the challenges that I faced was, of course, when you move to a new country, and I moved when I was 17 here. I'm 20 now,
Hmm.
so it's been 3 years. And like I lived in an apartment with my teammates. I still do. But even the small things like cooking for myself, like I
Yeah.
had no idea, right? So, or even like doing laundry, doing anything, because I was with the national team for the past 4 years. We got food. Or when you're living at
Yeah.
home with your mom, dad, of course you get food every day on the
Hmm.
table. I've never had to
Yeah.
make it for myself or do my laundry or anything. So small things like that add up because you anyways have to train for 4 or 5 hours a day, and then you also
Yeah.
have to take care of how you eat food, how you drink water, but and you also have to make it yourself. So it's like very time taking. So I think that was a big challenge for me in my first year because I was not able to feed myself the best, but I think it was a learning. I'm still learning, but yeah, I think that was a good lesson for life.
And since you have mentioned you are still learning, so the past things that you must have experienced, how has that shaped you as a person and a player, and you are hoping to carry it forward?
So what? Sorry, your voice just went. What past? What did you say? Sorry.
um, since you have learned some things, that you have overcome some challenges, but since you are still 20, there will be a lot of challenges upfront for
Of
you.
course,
So
yes.
how do you think the past lessons have shaped
Um,
you as a person and as a player?
So I think definitely being here, not to say being alone, because I have my best friends I've ever made here. They are now my family. My team is, I don't think I could imagine being without them. But I think I learned a lot with the professional game, the demands, the environment, even small things like taking care of yourself. I think if I do face any challenges in the future, I do know that at least I'm strong enough to deal with any adversity that comes my way. And even like mental challenges, I think firstly I think everything is mental, mostly everything
Mm,
is mental. I
mm,
think mental health is the most important part of being an athlete, being anything. And I think in India, while I was in India at least playing, it wasn't given enough importance to. I think rather than a nutritionist in a team, rather than, I don't know, like some extra media manager, I think honestly you should have a sports psychologist in your team. I think that is one of the most fundamental and important things for any athlete, any person also, but I'll speak for football, but any footballer. I think me working closely with a sports psychologist here and even in India, like I do it very regularly and I'm very open about it. I think it's the most important thing because you learn a lot about yourself. And I think that lesson has been the biggest one. That education, actually, that knowledge that I've gained after being exposed to a lot over here, even like
mm,
the fact that football is not everything. When I was in India, or even now in India, with football, cricket, so many sports which we all love, footballers and cricketers, or I don't know, any foot like any sports people have crisis where they are like where they think that all they are is a footballer. Like it's who
mm,
I am, but no, it's not. It's what I do. It's not who I am, and there's much more to life than football. And I think that knowing that has helped me on the pitch in like a reverse sort of way where it relieves the pressure off of me. And I know personally, at least for me, it works where I know that okay, it's not the end of the world if something bad happens. There's always another day, there's always another game, there's always another practice session, and there's a lot more to life than football, like family, friends, health, a lot more important
mm,
stuff, which has helped me be free and which has helped me play so well on the field because now I have no pressure because I know I play football because I absolutely love it, you know?
mm.
So yeah, I think that's been the most important lesson.
And I guess the issue with Indian football fans or Indian sports fans is that they consider those athletes as gods. They start thinking that
Correct.
they should not do any mistake, but they are also
Correct.
humans. They will make mistakes, so you have to be content with it. But that's the problem with
100%.
the Indian sports fans, and we have to
Yes.
change our mentality because that puts pressure on the sports persons who are representing the country eventually.
100%.
Talking about international experience, you have international. You have went to Saudi Arabia. You have played in Turkey. You have played against Romania, then in the Tri Nation tournament. So, how has the international experience helped you grow as a player and as a person?
I think so much because I think being exposed to international players and people and cultures and even on the field itself is just so eye-opening because you see that there are 100 different ways of playing football. There are 100
Yeah.
different types of people of all, like, coming from all backgrounds, shapes, sizes, everything, ethnicities, and everyone is just coming on one pitch to play. But at the same time, even the playing styles are so different. So I think being
Mm.
exposed to that has opened my eyes and everyone's, I'm sure, like all my teammates, Indian football, everyone's eyes that there's a bigger game and we have so much to learn from everyone and we have to respect everyone. Even playing Romania, even playing someone like Sweden, like it was one of
Mm.
the hardest games I played in because they are so so good. And being exposed to that and seeing the athletic abilities, it also makes you feel like, at least me personally, feel like, okay, they are a girl just like me, same age, two hands, two
Mm.
feet, same brain. I can do
Mm.
what they're doing,
Yes. Mm.
if I don't know, Alex Morgan is playing the World Cup, I can also play it. Why not? Maybe I can
Yeah.
bring India to it. Why not? So I think it gives you this whole eye-opening challenge, eye-opening vision of possibilities that are there, which I think is very important because, like, out of sight, out of mind, right? So when you see it in front of you, you can believe and like it's there. Okay, like I can play this way. I can learn so much. So yeah.
And winning the Under 15 SAF Championship in Bhutan in 2018 must have been a significant achievement for you. And you were the vice captain and you were awarded the player of the match. So, can you tell us about that experience?
Oh, I think it is the most significant one for me. I think it's my best memory of football, and I will say it till now. I've even being here, like we've won a championship every year in the US or anything, but like it's, I think, so far the best memory. Winning any, even if it was an under 15 SAF trophy, I think that's the best memory I have in my heart because you win with India. You wear the colors. You wear it with pride. You carry your national team to victory. So definitely that was, I think, my best experience ever, especially being a vice captain, having an important role in that team. It held even closer to my heart because I think that specific team, um, the team which where we won with, we were like
Hmm.
a big 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 family. Like I think the reason we won was because we played for each other and how much we cared about each other. We used to have team
Yeah.
meetings every day, like player meetings in our rooms, discussing, oh, like what can happen, this, that, and we were so invested in ourselves and we believed so much in each other. And I can also say, even in the final that we played against Bangladesh, I don't think necessarily we were the better team, but I think because we believed and we believed in each other so much and we wanted it so bad, that's why we won. And we were such a big family. I think as soon as the whistle blew, all of us were crying. Like we were 13, 14 years old. Like it really, if you see in hindsight now, it's like, oh, okay, like we, or even someone like you maybe, or anyone reading off my resume maybe, oh, one under 15, that's great. But for us, it meant like the World Cup final.
Hmm.
It was, I think, the greatest feeling ever because there were like fans. There were like, I believe there were 10,000 people in the stadium. It was so cool. Like people cheering for you. Like when you're 14, like you're like, oh my God, they know my name. Like that's crazy. Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like the coolest experience ever. Even till now, it's my favorite memory.
And reflecting on your time with UC Irvine, what were the
Mhm.
key factors that contributed to the team's success, particularly winning the Big West Championship and
Mhm.
qualifying for the NCAA tournament multiple times?
I think it's the US underdog mentality where it's just like survival. Like I don't know how to say it, but no one wants to lose. Like on this team, everyone is so competitive, even with each other in training. Like anything happens, we're like slight tackling. We're just fighting with each other on the field. Even though I'm fighting with my best friend ever, but on the field, it's like competition. Like so, I
Yes.
think that mentality is this US mentality which I've learned, which we Indians definitely don't have because we care a lot for each other and we are
Yeah.
emotional. I am too. Like I can never even imagine screaming at my like teammate or anything, like on the
Yeah.
pitch, even off the pitch. But here, no one cares. Everyone is ruthless on the field, like just on the field though, and they know how to separate that from off the field. So I think I've learned that a lot, and I think that was the reason for our success because we are so competitive. We just don't want to lose, even if we play a 3v3 tournament. Like in practice, everyone is like just fighting, whining, like no, the ball was out, this happened. Like it's just so competitive that I think that is a big reason. Like just no one wants to lose. You just want to win. So yeah.
And winning the one day tournament with Fonte Center under 19A must have been a memorable experience. Can you share some insights into that tournament and what it meant to you personally?
Correct. So I was in Spain for 2 months, I think, last year. We had off season in the US. So I went,
Hmm.
played, and instead of going home for the summer for a long time, I just went there and then went later to India. So I think it was I was 19 also. So it was an under 19 tournament where it was a first division where there were three or four good Spanish teams. I think you've heard of Espanyol and
Hmm.
excuse me, sorry, I'm so sorry. Uh, you've heard of Espanyol, and there's another women's team called Levante Las Planas. They play
Hmm.
in the first division in the Spanish league, and FC Dam as well. So it was just a 14 tournament where it was like the first division of under 19, and like I just trained with them 2 3 times before, and they liked me. And the coach asked me, okay, why don't you come and play with us? I was
Hmm.
like, perfect. Like, of course, that's such a cool experience. Like all these players are potential Spanish national team players in the future, and it was
Yeah.
just a cool experience to play with them because I was coming from the US also directly, and the style
Hmm.
of play was like the opposite. Because in the US,
Yeah.
you just go, you take 5 touches, no problem, you keep the ball. But Spanish football, like more than 1 or 2 touches, the coach screamed at me, like like just release the ball. So it was just such a cool learning, and I was like, damn, like first time, like I went and I played. I didn't, of course, I didn't like play like a lot because I just joined their team. I played, I think, there
Hmm.
were 2 games, like semi-final, final. I played maybe 15 minutes in the first game and 20 minutes in the next game or something. And but the games were only like 40 minutes or something, not too long.
Hmm.
Um, so it was just a cool experience to see all these, like especially in Spain, like all these talented players. Like everyone was amazing. Like everyone could play like on the national team, and it was just so cool to see like all these girls, 14, 15, or not 14, but like I'd say 16, 17, 18 years old, even 19, like I was, just to see
Hmm.
how good they are and how confident. And yeah, it was just a really cool, like fever dream kind of experience. It was so cool.
So Avika, what is your career aspirations going forward? What are your goals? Considering you are still 20, so you have a
Correct,
lot
yes.
way to go. So, what are your aspirations at this moment?
Sure. Sorry, my laptop almost fell. Yeah, I have a lot of aspirations, I would say. Definitely some individual and some team. So I think
Hmm.
for like the national team, of course, I want to be a big part of it. Now and in the future. But I think one a bigger goal that I have is taking India to the World Cup, to the Women's World Cup, and
Hmm.
representing India and taking them to the first one, because I think that is a dream for all
Hmm.
Indians, all the fan base, anyone, like little
Yeah.
girls, little boys, even like just us as players is our biggest dream, of course. So I think that is the main goal, because I want to see India in a Women's World Cup, and I hope that I'm someone who can possibly lead them, or maybe just be a part of of the team, or just be some influence in that. So I think that is one of my biggest goals that I have. And then personal goals, definitely I want to play a I want to play in the top leagues and divisions in Europe. I'm already been training. I'm already planning to possibly play in Jan 2025. I become a free agent, so I'm
Hmm.
planning to have some trials already. I'm in talks with some clubs in Spain, France, possibly Portugal or Italy, to play in the first division there. So that would be really nice, a good starting point. But I think end goal, of course, is to end up at like the best. See, my goal is FC Barcelona or Arsenal.
Hmm.
That's my end goal, and people may think I'm crazy, but I think it's possible. And
Hmm.
Yeah, that is my goal, and of course, to play in the Champions League with a good club and have a happy and healthy career, definitely. But yeah.
Personally speaking, one of my favorite team in football currently is FC Barcelona's women team because I'm a fan of FC Barcelona. So
Me
definitely I
too.
follow their games too. I've been a fan of Alexia Putellas for a long time. I've been a fan of Losada Vicky, the previous
Mhm.
captain. Then now Etana Bonmati. So these players kind of
Yes,
like
yes.
apart from the men's football, yeah, because we watch that more.
Of
But women's
course.
football also, the game they play is completely different and it is something unique.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
It's totally different.
And since the men's Barcelona team is not doing so well, so definitely the women's football team, that's a glimmer of
True.
hope for us.
Correct. Yeah. The loss to PSG was not fun to watch, but
Expected, yeah.
yeah, I know. It's okay. I'm also a Barcelona fan, diehard, so I feel the same. Men's as well. So yeah,
This brings us to the end of the long question and answers. We will go on to the rapid fire round.
of
Shall we
course.
start?
Yes, ready.
So your favorite football team you have just mentioned now, but can you
Barcelona.
give a little bit more about it? How you became a fan of them?
So I think Messi. Simple answer is Messi fan.
Same.
That's it. Simple.
Yeah. Your pre-game ritual that you follow.
I used to have some, but now I have none. That is my ritual to have no rituals.
Okay. Best goal you have ever scored.
I think free kick goal I scored against Mongolia playing for India in AFC under 16 qualifiers. Definitely my best goal for me.
Toughest opponent you have faced.
Sweden.
Uh, your favorite football player. You already mentioned it, but
Yes.
Lionel Messi for you, yeah, right? And
Yes.
from the women's team,
Uh,
any?
yes, I have Beth Mead is my one of my favorite players.
Yeah. Your most memorable win.
The one where we won against Bhutan, sorry, Bangladesh in India SAF under 15, where we won. Yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite stadium you have played in?
There's some in the US as well that are cool. But I'd say the Bhutan experience where we won. That is my favorite stadium
Yeah.
because of the whole experience.
And one word to describe your playing style.
I would say creative. Yeah,
And one team you would want a call up from.
Boston FC Barcelona.
Uh, and apart from FC Barcelona?
Like Arsenal women's.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yes, that brings us to the end of this episode fifth of Atawaris Speaks Football. It was a great time talking to you, Aveka Singh. Can you share your experience for this interview? It will be great
Yeah,
for.
I think
Yeah.
no. Sorry, you were saying?
No, no, no. You continue.
Yeah, I was saying I think it's been so fun. Actually, I didn't even realize. I just realized it's been like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It like I felt I was just talking to you as a like just a friend or just having a conversation. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and also I think it's really good for whoever is listening to know more about Indian football. And I think you're doing a really cool job about like making people aware, interviewing people, and I
Mm.
think it's so cool. So thank you for having me a part of this. I feel like it's a great honor. Thank you.
And it was one of the best compliments I have received to be
No,
doing such kind of interviews. So thank
no,
you,
thank
Avika, for
you.
your time.
Of course.
We'll close off this episode. Thank you for your time,
Thank you
and
so
good
much.
luck for your aspirations forward.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you too.